guys so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Yeah, so I was diagnosed with Alzheimer's a year and a half ago at the age of 60. That's not something anybody ever wants to hear. It is, however, something that is becoming increasingly prevalent in the world. There are over 7 million Americans right now who have diagnosed Alzheimer's, and probably a bunch more who are undiagnosed. There are also about 12 million unpaid caregivers, that is families, friends, who are caring for people with Alzheimer's who are no longer able to care for themselves or just need that extra help. It is becoming one of the most expensive disease-based epidemics in America. And the reason I work with the Alzheimer's Association is because they're doing what they can to try and make that easier for folks. Because of them, I advocate, I get out and I speak to people, I talk to folks like you, I talk to people at old age homes, I talk to people at community centers, and I try to let them know that people like me with this disease are still people. We're still here, we still care, we're still wanting to be active parts of the community, and that's one of the reasons why we have the walk. And I cannot tell you how happy I am that this school has a walk team. And the more people that show up to do the walk, the better. The more people that donate money to the Alzheimer's Association, the better, because what they do is they advocate with the federal government and local governments to make sure that funding continues to happen for research for a cure, that funding happens to help get doctors trained and learn how to recognize the symptoms of Alzheimer's to help people get diagnosed early, because now there are drugs that people like me can take to slow down the progression. There is no cure for Alzheimer's yet, and that, of course, for me, is the real reason why I advocate, because I don't want to die of Alzheimer's. I want to be cured. And so I'm working with the Alzheimer's Association, doing clinical trials, working every bone in my brain, so to speak, so that I can be here and me and active when the cure comes, because the cure will come, and I want to be able to take it. But at the very least, at the very worst, I want to be the last generation of people who has to live with the fact that there is no cure for this disease. Anybody off the top of my head know the old game, 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon? Some of you, right? That's where you kind of determine how far you are from knowing this actor, Kevin Bacon, who back in the 90s, that was a real thing, right? But, you know, you say, oh, I know him personally, you're 1 degree. I know somebody who knows him, you're 2 degrees, etc., right? And the theory back in those days was that everybody in the world was less than 6 degrees away from Kevin Bacon. That's how omnipresent he was around at that time. And so I want to say that everybody in this room is probably 2 degrees or less from Alzheimer's. You may not know it. You may not be it yet, but there's a really good chance that you will be. You may get it, your parents or your grandparents may get it, your future husband or wife or partner may get it, you may know someone who gets it. That's how prevalent it is. So when you're thinking about diseases that are epidemic, Alzheimer's is one of them. Right now there are about 7 million Americans with the disease. That number is predicted to double in the next 25 years. It is costing, what's the number, $3 billion in money to just support the people with the disease right now. That's how much it costs. It's incredibly costly. When people are full on in dementia, they are incapable of caring for themselves. They need to be watched over sometimes 24 hours a day. They need to be helped, to be fed, cared for. It's a terrifying thing for me to think about looking forward to as what's going to happen. We all are going to die, right? That's inevitable, or I would presume so. But I don't think anybody wants to die not knowing who they are, and that's what Alzheimer's offers, right? That at some point I'm going to be in a bed, I'm going to be dying, I'm going to be hopefully surrounded by my family and friends, and I'm not going to know who they are, and chances are I'm not going to know who I am. And to me, that's the worst thing in the world, right? I've always said, look, I'm not an athlete, never was. Take a leg, I'll be fine, right? Not a problem, but take my brain away from me, I'm not going to be fine. So again, it's now incumbent on me to do everything that I can to make sure that I have a brain left when the people who actually know what they're doing, which is not me, develop the cure. So that when it comes out and it's in a handy pill or an infusion or a shot or whatever it is, I'm online to take it, and I will be first, like pushing over old ladies to get to it, because that's how important it is, right? Sorry. I still have my sense of humor. For me, if I don't have a sense of humor about this, I'm just I would die, right? Because, no pun intended, I suppose. Because if you can't laugh at it, it's just too crushing, right? You have to figure out a way to get through something like this. And for me, as always has been with my life, it's humor that gets me through stuff. So that says I don't really enjoy being mocked for forgetting something or something like that, but I'm perfectly capable of telling a joke like the Alzheimer's protesters are walking around. What do we want? A cure. When do we want it? Want what? Okay. Which brings me to the wall. Right?
Oh my God.
Why do we walk? We walk to raise awareness that Alzheimer's is here, that more people are getting it, that those people need help, care, and support, but also while they can, they want to be part of the community and they don't want to be side-eyed, right? When I told people I had Alzheimer's, their reaction was like I had died right in front of them at that moment. And that's not okay. Right? It is. I mean, it is that devastating a diagnosis, of course. But, people don't say, oh, well, you can fight it and get better soon and that sort of stuff, because there's just no common knowledge that that's possible. And I'm here to tell you today that it is possible. Right? There are drugs right now that slow the progression of the disease down by about 30 to 35%. That's pretty good. Not enough, but it's good. Then there are other alternate therapies that you can do. I do music and light therapies. I take lion's mane mushrooms. I write. I exercise. I eat better. There was just a study done showing that healthy living can really prevent Alzheimer's in about, 40% of people. So learning that and knowing that there are good foods to eat and bad foods to eat, that exercise of the body and the brain are all things that you can do now to help prevent the potential of you getting this disease later, are good things. That's another reason why we walk, to raise that awareness. So those are some pretty compelling reasons. We also do it to help the government understand that they need to continue, despite whatever chaos is happening in Washington, D.C. right now, whatever side of the fence you're on politically, the Alzheimer's Association's colors are purple for a reason. They're purple because it is a nonpartisan issue. There is absolutely no reason, Republican or Democrat, why you should be opposed to funding research to help find a cure for this disease. And they shouldn't be opposed to helping to fund the people who have this disease and ensure that they are comfortable and able to live their best lives for as long as they can. So it's a great color and it's a great organization. My wife and I went to Washington, D.C. to lobby Congress back in June. I'm hopeful to go again. It was a fantastic experience. There were 1,100 of us in D.C., all of us dressed in purple with Alzheimer's Association sashes, walking through the halls of Congress, meeting with our Congress people, telling them to support initiatives to ensure that all of the funding that had already been appropriated in previous administrations got spent and not taken away. That funding for initiatives to train rural doctors in ways to diagnose or ways to recognize the disease, because it took me 6 years to find a doctor who would listen to me that I knew something was wrong with my brain. 6 years of talking to doctors and having them go, yeah, you sound fine to me. And they're right, I do. But I knew. And so we've got to start to train doctors to understand that when a person comes to them and says, look, you don't know me, but I do, and my wife or husband or partner or children do, and we all say there's something wrong. It's time to listen, right? So we need that training. There's a blood test right now that has been approved by the FDA, which could make it so that people who do present like that can just be given a blood test, like your standard battery of blood tests, to determine that you do or you don't have it at that time. That needs to be out and done, and primary care doctors and regular blood banks need, or blood work places need to be able to just give that. It needs to be funded because there's a preventative medication out right now, or a slowdown right now. When I was diagnosed, my neurologist said to me, it's a really good time to have Alzheimer's. It's not, but it is, right? It's never a good time to have Alzheimer's, but it is, because 3 years ago, there was nothing, right? There were symptom modifiers, right? So that when you got agitated or confused, there were pills you could take to lessen the severity of the symptoms, but there was nothing that actually went out and addressed the disease. And thanks to the Alzheimer's Association and other people, that's out there now. The FDA has approved it. I take it. I go for an infusion every 2 weeks. I go to Bay State Hospital in Springfield, and I sit with a needle in my arm for an hour while a drug comes into my body. And I will tell you, it's working. I can't tell you how, because there is no quantification of this. This is one of the biggest problems, right? When you get diagnosed, you say to your doctor, well, how long until, I'm not who I am anymore or whatever? And they're like, yeah, I don't know. No, everybody's different. It'll happen when it happens. We don't even know when you got it. There's no way of knowing that, right? You have it because there are things called amyloid plaque in your brain, which are seen by a PET scan, which you get when they introduce nuclear radiation into your bloodstream and then take pictures inside your brain. That's the only way to see it. You can also get a spinal tap, but I did not have one of those. I'm kind of glad about that. So but now the blood test, right? Which means I don't have to do the PET scan, I don't have to have nuclear medicine put into my body, but that they could just take a little bit of blood and make it go away. So, or make it known, that is. So, we walk for all of those reasons. We walk to educate, we walk to help raise funds, and we walk to give people like me and our caretakers a voice in this world. And so I just want to thank you all for listening to me. I want to thank you for forming a team, and I urge you to join your team and come out on the 26th of October to walk with us. And I'm guessing that at least a decent percentage of you guys and ladies like ice cream, right? All right, on Thursday of this week, that's tomorrow, Mount Tom Ice Cream, just down the block, is helping us with a fundraiser. They're going to donate a portion of every dollar earned between 3 and 9 o'clock that day to the Alzheimer's Association for the walk. So show up, get a hot fudge sundae. My wife and I and Jamie will be there, and we'll be selling raffle tickets for other stuff. And so we'd love to see you there. Come out and get ice cream, and we'd love to see you at the walk on the 26th.